All right, back again with section 2 video for our test review. Let's go ahead and kick it off. This is going to be for lesson 1.4 through 1.6, mainly dealing with exponents and radicals. Okay, so let's start here with number 26. Right here, see if I can zoom in a little bit more. We got exponent rules, okay? It says use the exponent laws to write equivalent expressions, okay? Equivalent expressions. So the rule when we are dividing, oops, didn't mean to do that. The rules when we are dividing is that you have to take the exponents and subtract them. Top minus bottom, or I usually say big number minus little number, okay? And you keep the bases exactly the same. So for this exponent right here, the base is 7. For this exponent here, the base is 7. Because both of the bases are the same, here's the math that we do. 7 minus 4, which gives us 7 to the third power. Okay, so right now this would be an equivalent expression. We can also type in 7 to the third power, which is 7 times 7 times 7, and end up with, my fancy calculator says, 343. So these two answers are acceptable for this situation. This is called quotient rule, okay? This rule right here is called quotient rule. Oops, can't spell today. Q-O-T-I-N-T-I-E-N-T. So quotient rule, you have to subtract the exponents if they are have the same base and you're dividing. The next one here, number 27, this is going to be product rule, okay? This is called the product rule. And for the product rule, again, we want to make sure all of our bases are the same. And if the bases are the same, then we can basically add the exponents together. All right. So product means you're multiplying, which means that the exponents are not going to be doing what everybody else would be doing. They're in their own little world up here. When you are multiplying, exponents get added if the bases are the same. So if we have 3 bases, technically we should have 3 exponents. Everybody go ahead and add that invisible 1 right there. All right. So I got all my bases the same, which is -2. Now in my calculator, what I'm going to type in is 1 plus, ooh, not 5. That's definitely a -5. -5 plus 8. I'm going to add all 3 of these numbers together. And when I type that in, 1 plus -5 plus 8, I end up with 4. Right? So right now, this is an equivalent answer. And in this situation, because the base is a number, you can type this in the calculator again to see what it actually expands to. So let me type that in. -2 to the power of 4. And yes, you have to put the -2 in the parentheses, okay? When I type that in, you end up with the answer 16, okay? So all that is -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. All right, just multiplying 2 4 times, and that's going to give you 16. And we have an even number of positives. So negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative goes back to negative, and then times it by a negative again goes back to positive. These two answers would be acceptable, okay? And last but not least, we go to our power rule. This is when your exponent has an exponent. See this guy right here? He has this guy. All right. What we do with these two, you multiply them. All right. So this answer would simply be -4 to the power of 4 times 9, which is 36. And if you want to type that in the calculator, good luck. Good luck. So, pretty sure it's going to be a really big number. All right, but you do have to, I repeat, you have to multiply this situation right here when your exponent has an exponent. This situation here. And of course, you see uniquely, they have these parentheses that separate these two. That's so that this exponent is touching everything, okay? This exponent belongs to the entire thing. Be careful with that moving forward to other problems. Make sure you are locked in, okay? So that concludes that part. Let's keep it rocking. Find the value of each for questions 29 and 30. Okay. I have a calculator. Let's go ahead and pull out that Desmos calculator that y'all be using. Desmos calculator. Cube root of 125. Voila, it's equal to 5. That was so tough. Square root of 5, I don't need a calculator for that. That's 5. But of course, if you want to type it in the calculator, go ahead. Be our guest. Square root of 25 is 5. Oh yeah. We like whole numbers, y'all. We like whole numbers. We really do. Anyways, for 31, in radical form, which is this guy right here, the expression x to the 1/3 power would be equivalent to, y'all see the 1/3 right there? That 3 is going to come out front, like a root. And the 1 is the only real exponent. He's going to stay outside, okay? Oops, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. I like to keep the root and the radicand inside parentheses and push the exponent out. That's just my style, you know what I mean? And then you can leave that x in there. This is how you would rewrite it. The root always goes out front. And this guy right here is the only real exponent. He does not compromise his position. He stays right up top right here. He stays right up top. And the root is going to get relocated up front. That's just how that works, okay? Both of these would be deemed equivalent. And now this one, they should have started with this one here. In an exponential form, the expression square root of x is equivalent to, no exponent is given. So we know that that is an invisible 1. Just like this one. This would be an invisible 1 as well. Okay. Nobody would write that. That would be tacky. Okay. But it is what it is. Right here, when they don't write a root, it is an invisible 2. Okay. That's why when it's not there, we say square root. So if I was to rewrite this situation, I would write it as x to the 1/2 power, okay? 1 comes from my exponent. That wasn't written. That's an invisible 1. And the root being my invisible 2, they both become visible when you change it to exponential form, okay? You got to see those two numbers. So we just made the invisible visible. Good job. Now, here we go for these 3 questions. Rewrite each exponential expression as a radical expression, then evaluate the expression. Easy money. 3 goes here, and you can put that invisible 1 if you want to on the outside. -729. This is how it would look. All right, this is how it would look. And then we can just type it into the calculator because that's what we do, man. That's what we do. Cube root. So I'm hitting that guy right there. And then we type in our 3. On the inside, we type in negative 729. Well, won't you look at that? The answer is negative 9. And again, there's no need to put that invisible 1 there unless you want to. Answer, negative 9. And what that means, if we multiplied negative 9 3 times, because that's what this is, multiply negative 9 3 times, we would get negative 729. I'm interested in seeing if this is, you know, a way of checking, because I mean, we got to check our word. Negative 7, I mean, not negative 7, negative 9 times negative 9 times negative 9. Well, won't you look at that? Negative 9 times negative 9 times negative 9 is negative 729. I guess we're getting smarter. Anyways, moving on. Let's get a rewrite right here. Shout out to Ray in my 6th period. She got a 100 on section 2. Yeah, gotta step your game up, little ones. Okay, gotta step it up. Anyways, type this in the calculator and you will get your answer. Same thing here. When you rewrite this one, you can choose to put the optional 2 up there, but nobody writes the 2, okay? You can choose to put the optional 1. Nobody writes the 1. Square root of 225, type it in the calculator, I promise you. You will get some number. Go ahead and write it down. All right. Let's move on. And again, students, you can pause the video at any time to get some, you know, some substance. Help yourself. I'm talking about like a drink, a snack. You can pause the video and then come back to it. Anyways, let's go to number 36. We got equivalent power rules. No, I lied. Identify all the expressions equivalent to 49 to the 1/2 power, all to the power of 5. Okay, so this is power rule, and technically you would multiply these guys right here. Okay, and you can type it in just like this, y'all, in decimals. 1/2 times 5, and I'm pretty sure your calculator is gonna say 2.5. All right, that's what it's gonna say. That's what it's gonna say. In reality, when you're multiplying a fraction with a whole number, the only 2 numbers multiplying is this whole number and the number up top. So realistically, I would leave it as 5 over 2. Okay. Only the 1 and the 5 are multiplying. That's it. 2 is being divided. So, yeah, we like decimals, but sometimes decimals are like kind of frowned upon. Anyways, this situation right here is 49 to the 5 halves power. Okay. Who's equivalent to that? Definitely not this guy. They got him flipped around. Ooh, this next one here, this is definitely going to work out. That one's going to work. Simply because 5 times 1/2 is the same thing as 1/2 times 5. They are literally the same thing. So they presented the problem the same way, just flip the 2 exponents. And yeah, it would work the same way. Right here, this would require a rewrite. I'm going to cross this out with red. Now I'm going to do this next one in red. Let's see what happens. I'm just playing. 49. And we got to write this as an exponent. Who would go up top? I give you some time to think about that. Does the 2 go up top? Or does the 5 go up top? If you said 2 goes up top, 5 on the bottom, you are correct. Is this going to work out? Is that equivalent to this? Absolutely not. Let's cross that situation out. You're not going to work. Oh, these two happen to be identical. See that? See this? Ooh, we are smart. Let's go ahead and get out of purple. Okay, whatever. Let's go ahead and get out of purple check right there. And last but not least, right here, we are missing a value. Y'all tell me what's missing right here. Is it a 1? Of course not. It's an invisible 2. Nobody writes the 2. So if I was to rewrite this situation, who would go up top? Who would go on the bottom? Would the 5 go up top and the 2 go on the bottom? Or would the 2 go on top? Or would the 5 go on the bottom? Come on, y'all. You know what it is. 5 over 2. Looks like those two are identical. So 3 of these answer options would work. All right. This guy right here, equivalent. This guy right here, equivalent. And of course, this guy right here is equivalent. Easy one. Now we're about to get into the good stuff. Get into the breakdowns. All right. And then we got addition and subtraction, multiplication and division. These two right here, a lot of breaking down. Then we'll be done. But let's go ahead and knock this out real quick. Right here, this is the weird house of 3s, all right? We call this a cube. Meaning that the only way you can get married and move out, you got to be in groups of 3, okay? Has to be in groups of 3. Anyways, rewrite the expression using, oh no, we don't even have to solve this. They just want us to rewrite. Easy money. Negative 44 in parentheses. My exponent would be 5 because he never changes his position. And the root is written below it. Almost got carried away. Right here, the 289 goes in parentheses. My exponent never compromises his position. But who is the root? Yes, there's an invisible 2 right there. Everybody put the 2 here. And life goes on. What is the value of 27 to the 2/3 power? Is it 9? Is it 32? Is it 54? Is it 72? Type it into the calculator and you'll know. And me, of course, I'm a teacher. I can do the work. Now, what this means right here, when I rewrite this situation, what number would we multiply 3 times to get to 27? I don't know. Would it be 2 times 2 times 2? Or would it be 3 times 3 times 3? You better believe it. It is 3. All of this on the inside of the parentheses equal to 3. Now, when we do 3 squared, because we got to bring this guy down, all right? 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. Easy money. 9 would be our answer here. And of course, you can just type this into the calculator. That also helps. For questions 40, 41, write the equivalent radical expression and then find the value of the expression. All right, cool. I got you. Using my radical symbol, negative 125 goes on the inside, 81 goes on the inside. And then we got the 3 out front. 2 never compromises his position. Right here, we got the 2 out front and the negative 3 out here. And realistically, I would tell you to go type it into your calculator. All right? I would tell you to type it into your calculator. And when you do type this in the calculator, for this first one here, this is basically asking us what number would we multiply 3 times to get to 125. Well, negative 125. That would be a negative 5. All right. And then we square the negative 5 and get negative 5 times negative 5, which is 25. All right. That's how that works. This one here is asking us what 2 numbers would we multiply to get to 81. I think I know. 2 numbers that we multiply to get 81, that would be 9. 9 times 9 is 81. But let's keep the exponent in there. Okay? When we keep the exponent in there, and this is not a happy exponent, all happy exponents, well, unhappy exponents, move downstairs. Okay? Y'all see that? Unhappy exponent. So he moves downstairs. And we got to hold this spot up top with a 1, all right? Which technically is an invisible 1. And so we can type this into the calculator right here. I'm going to get my calculator out to save some time. 9 to the 3rd power is 729. I'm pretty sure all of these would be acceptable. I'm leaning more towards these 2 guys, all right? That's what I would do. And now these 2 here look like they need some side work. Ooh, plenty of space over here. Let's go to 42 real quick. 42 got a cube root of 192. 192, if we chop it down, that's going to be 2 times 81. Chop down 81 with, I'm going to use 3 and 27. 27 gets chopped down with a 3 and a 9. 9 gets chopped down with a 3 and a 6. So this guy right here is really disguised as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different prime numbers. Well, I should say 5 prime numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4 3s, and a 2. Let's go to our marriage rules. In order to get out of this house and get married, you got to get married in groups of 3. They come out as Mr. and Mrs. and Mrs. 3. All right. These 2 do not get married. These 2 do not get married. They actually stay in this house, which is kind of weird, and they end up having a kid. All right. That is the reality. And when they have a kid, their kid name is 6, all right? And where is 6? He's located in a weird house. The house where you got to get married in groups of 3, okay? Where you got to get married in groups of 3. But you see these 3 3s right here? They get married and they move out of the house. They get married and they move out the house as 1. These 2 have to stay inside. Anyways, let's go to 43. We got to break down 80. But 80's not in the weird house. Y'all see that? Y'all see the number that's in front? What number goes right here? 2. So, yeah, typical marriage between, 2 people. Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, I always tell my students, please don't skip a chance to break down with 5. Okay? It kind of makes your numbers smaller a lot sooner. So 80 divided by 5 is 16. All right. So 5 and 16, that's how we multiply to 80. Then we're going to break 16 down with 2 and 8. Then we're going to break 8 down with 2 and 4. And then we're going to break 4 down with 2 and 2. So 80 is disguised as 1, 2, 3, 4, 2s and a 5. And in this house, it's regular marriage rules. You get married in groups of 2. These 2 get married and become Mr. and Mrs. 2. These 2 get married and they become Mr. and Mrs. 2. And 5 stays in the house. Now, I did box these 2 right here. Y'all see this little multiplication that we have? I didn't mean to put him in the box. He has to come down right here. He's going to drop down. Now we got to do 2 times 2, which gives us 4. Final answer is 4 square root. And we do this because we had 2 ceremonies, okay? We had 2 ceremonies. So when 2 numbers come out of the house, or I should say 2 ceremonies come out of the house, you have to multiply those 2 right here. This is not 2 plus 2, okay? This is 2 times 2 to get this 4 right here. Anyways, 43, the answer is 4 square root of 5. Easy money. Now let's go here for 44. Side math. I'm going to break down this 200. 200 is going to be, ooh, I want to use a 5. Let's use a 5. 5 and 40. And then 5 and 8. That's why we don't skip the 5s. You get a quick breakdown. 2 and 4. 2 and 2. So here's what we're left with. I'm going to make all my factors red too. I got 2 2s. Well, I got 2 5s and 3 2s. So let's put the married people up front. Or the ones who are going to get married. These 2 get married. They move out as Mr. and Mrs. 5. These 2 get married. They move out as Mr. and Mrs. 2. And last but not least, this guy stays in the house. They don't get married. They'll be all right though. We need to bring down this multiplication sign. And don't forget, this 2 is being multiplied to the radical. So let's drop that. All of these folks right here must multiply. 2 times 5 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Times 2 is 20. Final answer is 20 square root of 2. Feel free to pause the video at any time. All right, here for 40. We're in the weird house right now. Got to get married in groups of 3. Okay. 40 is going to break down to 5 and 8. 8 breaks down to 2 and 4. 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. Easy money. So in reality, we got 5, 2, 2, 2. Let's put all the married people up front. And that person who's not getting married, they kind of stand in the back. These 3 get married and come Mr. and Mrs. 3. Or Mr. and Mrs. 2. And the 5 has to stay inside the cube house, okay? Easy money. And I might do 46, but I'm gonna skip it. You'll be all right. You can handle it. Now we're on the final stretch. Don't know how much time this video is gone, but it feels like I've been working forever. Anyway, so the rules, y'all. The rules is if we're gonna add these bad boys or subtract, radicands have to be the same. Real simple. So right now in this situation, we cannot add the square root of 18 with the square root of 2. We're going to call for some side math, okay? That's what we're going to have to do. So let's go off to the side real quick and break down 18. We can't break down 2. 18 is really disguised as 2 times 9. And then 9 is going to break down into 3 and 3. There she is. Now these two get married. They become Mr. and Mrs. 3. And the 2 stays in the house. Yeah, this 2 right here. It's going to stay in the house. So in reality, square root of 18 is just 3 square root of 2. Now our radicals are the same. What we do in our calculator next is simple. We're going to do 3 minus 4. We can combine these now because their square roots are the same. 3 minus 4 is negative 1, y'all. Here is your final answer. As you can see, I did not change my square root of 2. Once you combine like terms, you're not doing any math with your square roots, okay? Only with these guys that we call coefficients. Let's do 49 while it's in our peripheral. I got a question for you. Can you break down 7? Nope. Can you break down 5? No. By default, this is simplified. Because you can't add a square root of 7 with the square root of 5. You just can't do it, all right? And it can't be broken down, so we move on. Oh, we got the weird house over here. Cube roots. This is for 48 and 50. Now we got to do some side math. $128. What is it? What is 128? Is that 2 and 64? And then 2 and... Oh my God. I just had an epiphany, y'all. We can stop here at 64. And the reason why we can stop here is because I know 64 is perfect. Psych. I don't want to give you that route. Because remember, this is the house of cubes. This is actually a perfect square, not a perfect cube. So, I apologize for that, guys. Let's just keep on chopping. It's going to be 2 and 32. 2 and 16. 2 and 8. 2 and 4. 2 and 2. Yes, that was a lot of chopping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 2s. That's a lot of 2s. So now, these guys get married, all right, and they come out as the 2s. These 3 get married, and they become the 2s because they're in the house of 3s, okay? And there's 1 2 left over. He's going to stay inside. So make sure you do 2 times 2. That's going to be 4 cube root of 2. 4 cube root of 2 is going to be what this simplifies to. Because remember, these people get married in groups of 3. So of all these 7 2s, we're going to have 2 ceremonies. 2 times 2. That's how we get to 4. Then you got this one right here left over. He stays. Now we got to do it one more time. Got to have some endurance. We got to break down this 54 and chop it in half. That's a 27. Then chop that with a 3. Make it a 9. Chop the 9 with a 3 and a 3. And this is what we got right here. Now see that. Now of these 4 numbers, 2, 3, 3, and 3, these guys get married. They get married in groups of 3, and they become the 3s. This oddball stays in the house. So this problem becomes, drop that negative sign there, 3 cube root of 2. Because my cube roots are the same, I can go ahead and do my math right here. 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. My final answer. And yes, the 1 is extremely tacky. I just made it disappear, just like that. Come on, y'all. There's a 1 right there. Easy money. Easy money. Remember to follow your marriage rules with these problems. Right? Make sure you're following your marriage rules. Anyways, let's go ahead and knock this guy out here. We got square roots. So I got to do some chopping with this 200. Shouldn't take too long. I'm going to use a 5. So it's a 5 and a 40. 5 and an 8. 2 and a 4. 2 and a 2. Feel free to pause the video to catch up at any time. Okay? These 2 5s are going to get married. Yes, we're getting married in groups of 2. These 2 2s get married. So we got 2 ceremonies between 5 and 2. That is 10. 5 and 2. Got those ceremonies going on. And that's how we get 10. And square root of 2 is left on the inside. And now I'm going to go ahead and drop the plus 4 times. And now we got to go off to the side and break down. Oops. My bad. Now we got to go break down the 98. I'm going to break that down with a 2 and a 49. And 49 breaks down into 7 and 7. And that one's done. That was real quick. Now let's make this one purple. 2 7s get married and they become 1. And then the 2 is left over. So this becomes 7 square root of 2. I'll make that 2 purple. Now right here with these 2, because you got a 4 and a 7 on the outside, you gotta multiply those. So positive 4 times 7, positive 4 times 7 will give you a positive 28. Keep the square root of 2, okay? Just bring them down. And then we're gonna add that with 10 square root of 2. Calculator, 10 plus 28, 38. Square root of 2 is our final answer. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And that was the addition section right there. Now, 2 more sections for multiplication and division and rationalizing your division as well, rationalizing your denominator. So here are the rules for multiplication. Rule 1, multiply coefficients. Those are the numbers out front, if you have them, like 54 right here. See these guys? These are coefficients. Multiply radicands. Those are the numbers inside the parentheses, like these guys. And last but not least, simplify. Don't forget, you do have a calculator. Anyway, so for 51, because both of these numbers are inside the parentheses, you multiply them, and you get 121. But they're still inside the, not parentheses, the radical. So, since we have the square root of 121, type that in the calculator, you get 11. While you're leaving, press pause and go type it in the calculator. Moving on right here. Cube. We got the cube root of 8 and the cube root of 16. If you know that these are perfect, I happen to know the cube root of 8 is 3. But some of you need to be converted into the levers. Not 3. The cube root of... I'm starting to get sleepy now. happened to my work? Oh, nothing happened to it. I got scared for it. The cube root of 8 is 2. But I'm going to do the work so that you can see it. Break this down into 2 and 4. I'm going to have to edit that out. 2 and 2. Yeah, so 2 times 2 times 2. And now for 16. Believe it or not, it's a very similar situation. 2 and 8. Yes, that's an 8. 2 and 4. Jesus Christ. That's 8. And then 2 and 2. So 16 is really 4 2s. If I put both houses together, because they got the same rules, both houses have the same rules. Got to get married in groups of 3. All of this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. These 3 get married. These 3 get married. And we have a 2 left over. He's going to stay in the weird house. On the outside, we got 2 times 2, which is 4. 4 cube root of 2 would be the answer right here. I know. I did that a little while. But y'all forgive me, right? Don't forgive me. I'll do an instant replay. I'll do it again. Here we go. We had 8 times 16. I go to my calculator and I type in 8 times 16 because I'm supposed to do this now. 8 times 16 is 128. Cube root of 128. And then we can just break down 128 into 2 and 64, 2 and 32, 2 and 16, 2 and 8, 2 and 4, and 2 and 2. Broke it down to its tiny little pieces. I wonder how many 2s we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, same 7 2s that we had before I erase this. These 3 get married. These 3 get married. That's a 2 times 2 situation, which is 4. And then we got this guy over here left. Has to stay in a weird house. You tell me which one you like and use that when you take the test. Now, here we go. We got a good one here. Want to get rid of this this cube, not cube, but this square root of 3. What you do to the bottom, you gotta do to the top. Okay? What you do to the bottom, you gotta do to the top. Or you could just type it in the calculator. So here we go. We got when you multiply these, you end up with the square root of 9, which is just equal to 3. And up top, what we can do right now, we can multiply these two. All that's going to do is create a bigger number and a bigger breakdown. Or we can break them down separately and bring them all together into one house. That is totally up to you. Okay? It's totally up to you. Whatever it is that you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and break down 48. And then I'm just going to throw the 3 inside with it, okay? I'm going to start with this guy here first, though. So, 48. Break down 48. I'll do it over here. 48 is... Oh, I'm going to do this one differently. 48 is 8 and 6. 6 breaks down into 2 and 3. 8 breaks down into 4 and 2, and 4 breaks down into 2 and 2. So here's what we have right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 twos, and a 3. That's what all came from 48. And now I'm going to add this guy in there. Alright. Y'all see him? The little blue 3? I'm going to put the little blue 3 in there. Because I can. And now we're just going to use those basic marriage rules. Who gets married? These people get married. These people get married. And these people get married. Everybody got married. Everybody's at the house. That's 2, 2, and 3. We really got to get our calculator out right now. -3 times 2 times 2 times 3, all divided by 3. I'm going to get rid of those two. 3 times 4, answer should be -12. If you don't believe me, go type it into the calculator. I'll go do it right now. So this is a fraction. -3, square root of 48. On the bottom, square root of 3. You mean to tell me I did all that work and I could have typed it in? Wow. That's all right, though. Each one, teach one. Don't forget about your calculator. Here we go. Let's go ahead and do 54. Let's multiply these two coefficients. We get 15. And then we multiply 10 and 6 and get 60. The only thing left to do now is simplify. I'm going to go over here and break down 60. That's going to be 5 and 12. 12 is going to be 2 and 6, and then 6 is 2 and 3. Who gets married? These two. And then 5 stays in the house and 3 stays in the house. If 5 and 3 stays in the house, they become 5 times 3, which is 15. We got the 2's getting married, so they right out here. And we got this 15 out here. So we can't forget about those guys. 15 times 2 is 30. Bring down your square root of 15. Easy money. Easy money. Now, our last two problems. And it's similar to what we did here. I'm almost tempted to type this all in a calculator. Just to see. But let's go ahead and rationalize this this radical. In order to get rid of it, you got to multiply it with itself. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So what this becomes is 2 square root of 25, which is 2 times 5. Yes, the square root of 25 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay? So on the bottom, we should have 10. As you can see, we multiplied the 5 and the 5 here to get 25. 2 is still out front as multiplication. The square root of 5 is 5, so it's just 2 times 5, which is 10. And now, up top, we're going to multiply the 5 with the 3. The 5 and the 3, and that's going to give us 15, okay? 15 is going to be on the inside. -5 on the inside. Now, the question is this my answer? I've ran into a situation where trying to break down 15 got me nothing but a 5 and a 3, which leads to no marriage. Just a baby named 15, if that makes sense. But let's look at these two numbers. Can we simplify 5 over 10. If you type in -5 divided by 10 and get a GCF, you'll see you get 0.5. So this can be simplified, okay? Let's divide the top by 5, which would be, and the bottom by 5, which would give us -5 divided by 5, which is -1. And then we got 10 divided by 5, which is 2. And you keep your square root exactly the same, which would be your final answer right there. You gotta simplify the fraction. Okay? And now, last but not least, our very last problem. Finally, we got to neutralize that 6. What you do on the bottom, you do at the top. So I'm just going to work the bottom right now. We do 3 times 3, which is, not 3 times 3, but 6 times 6, which is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. The bottom is going to be equal to 18. And now for the top here, I would hate for you guys to multiply 27 and 6. You'll get a big number that's, going to be a struggle on your breakdown. So let's do it this way. Let's break down 27 to its tiny pieces. Let's break down 6 to its tiny pieces, and then we'll bring it all together. This entire time, 27 has been disguised as 3 times 3 times 3. And 6 is disguised as 2 times 3. When you bring it all together, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 3s and a 2. Now we can start talking about marriage. They get married, they get married. This one stays in the house. 3 times 3 is 9. So our top is going to be 9 over 2. And now for our very last step. Are we done? Of course not. We're looking at the 9. We're looking at the 18 to simplify. The biggest number you can divide both of these by is 9, okay? Even if you use 3, because, that's probably the first thing that comes to your mind. Let's divide by 3, top and bottom. Not that guy, though, not the radical. You'll end up with 3 and over 6. Keep the 2 there. And it's like, but 3 and 6 can go. Let's divide both of those by 3. And you end up with 1 over 2. Still got the square root of 2, though. This would be your final simplified answer. And, of course, this 1 right here would be tacky. We can make that an invisible 1. And, man, am I so happy that I'm done with this video. Probably make a few edits. But when y'all turn in y'all papers tomorrow, look at all this side math. This is what we need to see. We need you showing work, which proves mastery. Anyways, good luck.